Hello, friends. How are you today? Well, today I'd like to chat with you about the Schumann Resonance chart and then talk about an inspired energy. The lines in the chart have been very interesting, and for me, the image resonates with something I talked about in another video about the need to make strong people and to create strong people, stronger than we've been. Okay, so here's the chart for Saturday, January 24th in the morning. And the most prominent thing on the chart the last few days has been these bars, these lines that form bars. And it was fascinating because I was reading a story about the Capitol building, and it had a beautiful photographic image of the new huge gated wall around the Capitol. And the reflection of the wall, I kid you not, looked like this upon the ground at an angle. It's interesting because when I first saw these lines being formed, what came to me was jail bars. But as they continued on, what also came to me was the idea of repression and then the idea of a jailbreak. In other words, these kind of jail bars can be used. Now, I'm talking about an intuitive read of the images right now, okay? These kind of jail bars can be used to keep something in. They can use to keep someone out in a repressive way. Keep someone in a protective way. Or they could be something that holds us back, that we break free of, metaphorically. It was interesting because when I saw this white image here, it kept looking like a long skull to me. And then here's the sort of the teeth. It looks a little like the Punisher skull again. It also looks a little like a white buffalo skull, which is interesting. And there's this interesting formation here, almost like a beehive. So that's above the beehive and then with a little line down to it. And these themes really struck me because there's a pattern that I have been seeing repeatedly. And I've hesitated a couple days here in talking about it because it is so different from what my eyes see when I look at the information being presented in mass media, but the energy lines tell a different story. And I want to explain that to you. But first, I want to also just note the other more prominent thing on the chart is this prominent red at almost all levels of hertz here. Okay. And now these interesting lines, or these lines are interesting here too. I had to reconstruct this piece here. I had to reconstruct, so that's why that looks like that when I move the cursor across. And then even here again, down here, over here, we have red at these higher hertz levels. What this says to me is an awareness of the activities of the red resonance at all levels of our perceptive ability. The reason why I say all levels of our perceptive ability is because the Schumann resonance coincidentally also comprises the range of hertz at which the human brain operates. And if the resonance is picking up pictures from the human collective, then I'd have to say that what this would interpret to me as an awareness of both the activities of the forces of darkness on our world in terms of the concept of a spiritual war, dark and light, going, operating. And then secondarily, the concept of us becoming aware inside of each of us of the shadow aspect of our own personality, that it's It's a lot easier to see that right now. We're turned on at all levels. And this can be tough because it can bring up a lot of emotions. But it's an incredible opportunity because once we see the shadow side, we can integrate it. And it's confusing what integration means. I know it took me a long time. It's like, what do you mean integrate the shadow side? Why would I want to do that? But over time, what I have found is that, okay, so integration comes with love and acceptance of one's self. So any dark deed you've done in any way, right? Because it comes really down to personal perception, not societal rules. It's really either our own judgments of ourselves or things we've done that we felt weren't right, from within. Loving all of that provides a salve that then also, when the love is real, when the love is true, when it comes from something greater than ourselves, when we allow the love of really like that soul light that we are to imbue itself over these things in the love that it is, it transmutes this. Once transmuted, we can come to an appreciation of the skills that we have through which we may have done deeds that we felt were wrong, but which can be used for good once the charge is off. The other thing is that we don't need to be beholden to these things for our whole lives. By bringing the soul light to this energy, it's healing. Like I said, it takes off the charge. And ultimately, the charge is our own judgment against ourselves. Because if you commune with soul at that level of divinity, what you will find is nothing but unconditional love for you. Love that has no concern over what you have done because it loves the essence of you that you are. And we're all human. We all make mistakes. This is to be expected. But if you can allow yourself to receive that divine light and allow it to transmute, to take off the charge, to love yourself no matter what happened, to forgive yourself, you will see the blessing. It's hard to see the blessing, the silver lining of these happenstances, these experiences, these capabilities that we have until we've gotten distance. Our energy is entangled in these situations until we bring the soul light and divine love, unconditional love for ourselves to bear. Once that happens, boom, it's incredible. Once this happens, we then can integrate what occurred. But the shock of seeing the truth can be hard to bear. It takes the willingness, the commitment, and the desire to love ourselves through the shock. That amplifies the heart light within. No matter where you have to withdraw to in yourself, okay, to get through a tragedy, the light of God is always present in that space. Sometimes it's overwhelming, and the space where you can allow that soul light to shine might seem small, but shine it will if you allow it. And as you get stronger, as you forgive yourself and expand your acceptance of your own self without judgment, it will begin to flow through you, flow through your body, flow through your energy and your field. And that's what melts these bars that hold us back. It's what takes away the pain of the sharpness, of disappointment, hurt, and harm that's been done. So what I want to show you behind the images are the numbers. Now, I've pointed this out for some time, but the red has been restricted to a very small range of hertz. And let me give you an idea of that by using this chart. You can see that the line within which the red frequency is operating is very narrow. It goes from about 19.86. Now really, most of it is just within this band. 19.86 to 20.28. Now, some popping a little bit above that up to 20.7. But look, this is what I'm trying to show you. That the forces of darkness are extremely restricted in the strongest part of their activity, okay, because they're in the yellow, represented by the yellow and by the red. Now, alternatively, the green, which in my view represents humanity's energies, has a range here from 24.1 to 26.8. I'm going to round it, but that's 2 plus hertz, okay, 2 to 3 hertz right now. Now, the range goes more than that, but this is just where the frequencies are right now. Okay, so here you have a range of 19.96 to 20.2. That's about half a hertz, okay, give or take. Half of a hertz range. Here we've got a range of 2 to 3. That's a multiple of 4, 5, 6 times the range. Here in the yellow, you've got 12.7 to 14.7. That's a range of 2 hertz. So you see how restricted the red is. Now the white goes from 7.27 to 8. Okay, so that's about 0.7-ish plus, 0.73, whatever. Hertz. Now it's a slightly more expanded range than the red, but here's why, in my view, the white is in a more narrow frequency range. It's because the white represents a more expanded energy. More expanded energies essentially cause havoc in lower realms if they present very strongly. And I think that's why the white stays to a more narrow range. This is also including the hertz range of the natural frequency of the Earth, which is interesting. So it's the dominant. This is the dominant range, okay? And note the dominant range of frequency of hertz of frequency at the hertz level that is most dominant on the Earth. Okay, the natural frequency of the Earth is 7.83, and that is also the hertz range of the resonance, the white resonance frequency. And what I'm trying to say is that which we view as a celestial or divine or expanded energy presence. What I'm trying to say is the Earth is a sacred place. The forces of darkness don't have much reign here. The only reason that they have reign is because of using the power of the human soul connection for their benefit. And this is really important, and this is why I was talking about becoming stronger people. See, we've been taught to be like this. Okay? And this. It's funny because after I created this, I realized that this looked like a mask over her face. A mask that's starting to break open. But look at the look in her eyes, okay? We have been raised to be so self-critical, be in such self-judgment. And I'm not trying to say that those things aren't valuable, but they dominate our discourse at a national level and a societal level to such an extreme that it generates an incredible negative energy field. And the thing is that that field is generated, now this is the key, by us. Because when I buy into, okay, all the darkness, when I buy into all the self-judgment, all the self-criticism, I build a house that is on rocky ground without a strong foundation. Why? Because those judgments become an abuse of the self that dishonors the God's light within, the light of God, the Most High, the Creator of the universe. That soul light is dishonored when we dishonor ourselves, when we hold against ourselves these, judgments, rather than processing the energy, allowing it to burn off, and remembering who we truly are, children of the Creator, and making a new choice, starting again, starting anew, taking another step. Now that's a much kinder way to treat ourselves, but our culture has evolved to cause us to generate a significant density in our own field that is self-generated. Now, that type of frequency of energy can then be used by lower forces for their own aims. You see, we're dreadfully unaware of non-physical entities and energies. We're dreadfully unaware of manipulations and those who would do others harm through intention. That's really not, in my view, those are not human qualities. They're really almost like an alien quality. And I remember watching a YouTube video by one of the, I don't know if he was a psychiatrist or a psychologist, who was a key writer and analyst in the field of psychopathy, studying psychopaths. And there's videos of him on YouTube. I don't remember his name right now. He's from Canada. And what he did was he also did brain scans, and he scanned the brains of various psychopaths and then sent them to another scientific group to analyze. And the person called him back and said, "You've made a mistake. These aren't the brains of human beings." So this is what I call an alien influence, okay? Whether it's psychopathy or sociopathy, whether it's born innate for whatever reason, and I would view that reason as a soul choice to incarnate as the dark forces, or whether it's ingrained through trauma and other behavior, or through possession of the body from a dark entity possessing the field and taking over, which happens through trauma and the diminishment of the soul light within the body. That cannot happen to a human being who chooses to retain the soul connection. That simple choice, and saying, "I do not consent to any entity attempting to manipulate your field." Simply saying, "I do not consent," knowing that you are an incarnated soul, is enough to cause that energy to flee. It gets into all layers of subtleties, and this is a short video, but that's the basic truth there that will protect you. So here's what I want to show you again on the chart. So my point here is that we are much more powerful than these forces. We have much more room to operate. Now here's the next thing. Here's the amplitudes. There's not much going on this chart, okay, at the moment. But we've seen the yellow attempt to achieve the same amplitude spikes as the white resonance. And in my view, because the yellow is more astral and representative of shadow elements of the human personality and the dark forces, it's not sustainable. You have a lot of spiking and activity here in the green at the same to slightly higher levels than the red or the yellow. Now, this is the other thing I really want to show you here. Okay, so here's the quality. This is the strength of clarity, okay? So you see that there were spikes in the red up to 25. And there was spikes in the yellow up to 24. Okay, so those are high numbers for yellow and red. And what that means is the clearness of the truth of what that truly is very present at that time, like the higher that those numbers go. Now here's 32. This is a common, high end of the range. Actually, it's usually 31 for whatever reason. It went up to 32 recently. But you see all of this activity in the green here right now. And this has been going on for days and days. And I've been commenting on my charts that I have on Twitter that the human heartbeat is strong. And the reason I call this the heartbeat rather than the frequencies or the amplitudes is because as I've explained in recent videos, it's like the truth of who you are. The more that this spikes, the more that is present. And since the green represents humanity, this constantly spiking like this in the current environment where yellow and red are attempting to assert themselves to gain a foothold, to gather, they lost control of the green. Okay, and look how strong the green is. Okay, we are very strong here. Our hopes and dreams, the truth of who we are, is very, very up and present. It has been for days and weeks. And yellow and red are freaking out. They've got to get us back in line. That's what it feels like. All right, let me finish the inspired energy discussion, which I have apparently blended in with this entire video. So what I wanted to say is this. It's your choice whether to be free or not to be free. The cage is of our own making. The holes in the cage are put there by ourselves or not. What's going on a national level right now, it doesn't look like we individually have control over. Let me tell you how you can contribute if you wish to. The way that you contribute, in my view, one that's very powerful, is to align with the energy of your own soul. Retrieve the shadow elements that are out of control in your own field and love them into submission. Love them until they're at a neutral energy in your own field, at which point you can retrieve them back. And then you have that energy available for yourself to use again. The more powerful that you become as a soul-centered individual, the more that our national life will also break free of unwarranted controls. Heal yourself, and you will heal the outside world. It is a choice to be free. It is the one choice that is truly always available to us, no matter our physical circumstances. It's the choice to embody and align with your own soul. It's your choice. You always have that free will choice. The more that you choose to connect with and bring that energy into your life, the more that miraculous freedom will expand through your circumstances, through your physical body and energy field, and into the world beyond. And beyond you, that all happens by God's will, the Most High, the Creator of the universe. There's nothing you need to do about that, because you are doing the hard work. You know, we're also taught in our society to look outside of us and see how we would change the world. Since the outer world is a reflection of our inner world, the most powerful you can have, the most powerful effect, is to have the commitment, the inner will, and the inner strength to change yourself first. And that means to love all of you.